Hey everybody, it's Doc Sports, Doc's Daily. How about that for Thursday the 13th? So at least we don't have Friday the 13th. It's Thursday the 13th of February, one day before Valentine's Day. So maybe we can make it a little sweeter with some nice free plays. We do have a little small card in the NBA tonight. No NHL still. We still have, this ridiculous 2-week break. But we do have tons of college basketball the next 4 days. So we brought on Robert Ferrigno, the king of college basketball, to talk a little college basketball. But before I get to, let's do a little housekeeping here. Don't forget, get in on that free $60 account. Go to, how about this one, docsports.com/free60. They get you $60 free. How you ever want to use it is really up to you. It's $30 for any individual sport for that day. So if you want to chop out Robert's college basketball and Nick's NBA, you can get $30 a piece, get tons of plays in there. So make sure you check that out under that docsports.com/free60 to get that account. Also, don't forget, like and subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out this show every day, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Robert, do you have any big plays for tonight, college hoop or NBA?
I do not. I may be the king of college basketball. I sure as hell wasn't last Saturday when I had one of my top 5 all-time worst days. So, I had been on a huge hot streak, and you guys all know how it is. You win 15 out of 16 days. You just everything you're putting up there is going good, but you know what's coming, right? You know that you're going to run face first into a wall at some point. But these hot streaks don't last forever. And that's what I did on Saturday. So I really have dialed it back this week. I'm just trying to pick my spots and be a little bit selective. And I've had 2 winning days to recover since then. So no, nothing big today, but just a good, tight, firm card.
All right. But college basketball, I'm sure you have several plays tonight.
Got about 11 plays.
And hey, if you're doing 11 plays and they're 2, 3, 4 stars, there still end up being 30 units, 20 units worth of action. So whereas other guys might have 3 plays, say a 5 unit or a 6 unit and a 4 and a 3, it ends up maybe even being more if you follow a guy.
Yeah, Lafayette didn't come to play last night at home, but if they had, I was very close to having a plus 1,200, plus 1,300 day. So even in my highest plays I had 3 2-unit plays and the rest were 1 unit. So just because it's smaller action per spot, that's just part of my method, part of my process. You can still have some big days.
Yes. Yeah. So Nick, what do you have for tonight? Did I see you on there that you have a college basketball top play tonight?
Not tonight. We smacked our 6 unit last night with Oakland. That was a blowout winner there, 82-67. I have a 6-unit NBA play going off tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lower volume on the card here today. I don't have 11 college basketball plays like Robert, but we're going to keep it low this weekend. We are going to absolutely slingshot, though, in college basketball. We got a 7 6-unit eyed up for the weekend here today, Craig, or the weekend.
All right, Griffin, I know you have a top play tonight. I know I saw your name on the board. What you got?
Yeah, Craig, I got a top play tonight. Last night I went 3-0. I swept my college basketball card plus $1,100. And when you're seeing it well, you're seeing it well. I'm 5-1 in my last 6 when it comes to college hoops. Tonight I have a 7-unit best bet. That play goes off at 5 p.m. And then when it goes to the NBA side of things, I'm hitting 62% in my last 42 cards, and I'm on a $7,500 plus run when it comes to my NBA selections, graded 7.0 plus. Tonight I have a 7-unit best bet. That play goes off at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I'm fully dialed in and locked in, ready to go. Yesterday, we cashed our soccer unit 7-unit best bet, so today we're dialing the volume back down on that side of things. Got a 3-unit play on that side of the card. So action across all sports that are currently going right now, because obviously hockey is not going right now. But yeah, fully locked and loaded, ready to go. Got double 7s on the hardwood, ready to roll, Craig.
All right, so there you have it. I do have a 5-unit play in college hoops. I didn't play a big unit in the NBA. I looked at, there's a play I like. It's just smaller because these last games before the All-Star break, it's just like last night. I really like the Grizzlies and John Morant. He looked like a go all day long. An hour before a game, they decide he's going to sit out. Yeah. I guess a week's time wasn't enough time off to be able to play a back-to-back last night. So you scratch your head in the NBA sometimes at these, last-minute decisions. So I think there are probably going to be some of those tonight. Almost all these teams are in a back-to-back spot. So a little unit, but I do have a 5-unit, and this one's a very under the radar play in college hoops. So if you want to play one of those games that's like you're going to be able to watch on TV, don't follow mine because that will not be the card tonight. This one you will not be able to watch on TV, even if you have like the ESPN3. So, all right, let's kick it off. Let's just quickly go through the NBA because there's just 5 games tonight, I believe. Let's just go around the horn. We'll go counterclockwise. Griffin, what do you like as a free play in the NBA tonight?
Absolutely, Craig. I like this game, Sacramento at New Orleans. Sacramento, they've been cold as of late. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They are on a nice 3-game winning streak, beating New Orleans twice and Dallas by 1 in their most recent matchup, two matchups ago. Sacramento, though, they're due for a regression point. I believe tonight is when it happens. New Orleans needs the revenge. This team has 12 wins on the season. 8 of those wins have come at home. Sacramento, they're also brutal against the spread. They're 3-7 against the spread when playing back-to-back games, and obviously they're playing back-to-backs tonight. 12-22 against the spread when playing in-conference matchups, and 5-9 against the spread as a road favorite. This is one of those games where you just have to ride with the numbers. We're aware Sacramento's the better team here, but you have to expect New Orleans is going to want to leave it all on the table with tonight's matchup and avoid that 3-game sweep in just a week's time against Sacramento. So, Craig, in this matchup, give me the Pelicans here, and I'm taking the 8.5 points in this matchup.
This must have been a rescheduled game, right? Like this has to be maybe when they had that snowstorm
3 games in a week.
Like I've never seen that. Like, is that what Robert?
Right.
Do you remember?
It has to be from when they did the tournament. Maybe from when they did the in-season tournament and they had to shuffle.
Well, remember they had that snowstorm in New Orleans, that weird one.
Yeah.
I think that might be what this game is rescheduled from. Also, that Milwaukee game was rescheduled. So I think that might be this card because that is a super
like a
weird
baseball series.
Yeah. It's like, how about we just stay in town? We'll play 3. Well, I want to play just 7 games in a row. We'll play a 7-game series here. But I do think this is a unique spot for New Orleans because, I don't know what you're doing unless you're trying to suck to try to get more ping pong balls to get Cooper flagged. I don't know. I still don't understand what New Orleans has been trying to do with this roster. And if you're ever gonna stand up Zion Williams, this would be the spot you would think like, hey, I can't just keep going down and get punked like this. All right, Nick, what do you like as a free play in the NBA tonight?
Yeah, let's look at the Clippers and the Jazz. Clippers right now, they're coming in 6th in the West, while the Jazz, they're 14th here. The Clippers won against the Jazz, though, on Saturday at home, 130-110. Both teams, they did play last night, but the Clippers do have to travel here to Utah. This Jazz team, they score a lot of points at home. We saw it last night in that win over the Los Angeles Lakers, 131-119. This Jazz team averages 112 points per game. That's coming in 19th in the NBA here, while the Clippers, they're only averaging 22 points per, or they're coming in 22nd in the NBA in points per game. The Clippers on the road, they're 11-3, 2 games below 500. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games here, while the Jazz, they're 3-7. They got a nice win over the Los Angeles Lakers there, but they're 6-18 at home. But like I said, they score a lot of points at home. I like this game to be competitive here tonight with the Utah Jazz. They're going to score a lot of points. Like I said, they're at home. Let me take the Utah Jazz plus 9.5 over the Clippers here tonight as we enter into the All-Star break here, Craig.
Do you think this is a game people should wait to bet or bet early? Because one reason why I say this, the Clippers are notorious for resting players. With the veterans they have in this team, I would not doubt if we don't see 2 or 3 guys come game time, which means if you want to bet, the underdog here, you might not get as many points if you wait till game time because once those guys are out, the line will shift down a little bit. So do you think since you like the underdog, you'd bet it right away?
I would bet it right away. I actually like it. I had it last night on the free play as well. It was plus 7.5. Now I'll move 2 points here. I'd be all over the Jazz with 9.5. I would even buy that extra hook to plus 10.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's the Clippers just don't I just don't understand. Their individual talent. Norman Powell's playing unbelievable. And actually, James Harden's having a pretty daggone good year. He's kind of carried them while Kawhi was out. But Kawhi is just scratch your head. I just don't know what to expect from this guy. This guy could be the best player in the league again and wouldn't shock me, but he also could be out tomorrow for the rest of the season, and we've seen that before. So, Robert, anything you like in the NBA's free play here?
No, but I will say that I know that one of the handicappers on our site that has been hot has a 7-unit play in that Clippers Utah game. I'm not going to tip their hand on
there you go.
side, but it is interesting for Utah, another revenge shot. You know, like a lot of people took it in the chin. They get whitewashed by the Lakers, and then everybody was doubling down, expecting it to happen again, and then they hammer them outright. Well, they just lost by 20 to the Clippers on the road last weekend, I believe it was. So a chance for them to get another little revenge dig in there. But we'll see. But no, I got smoked in the NBA last night. I thought San Antonio would come to play. Same thing. I thought Boston would be one of those teams that was kind of looking ahead to this weekend, looking ahead to the break. Awful lot of points. They're not used to Wemby. They tried to sneak in the back door, but the Spurs just really don't play any defense at all, do they? So no, I'm just taking it.
Spurs have been a mess for me as well, Robert. I just can't get a grasp on how this team's playing. These lines that keep coming out, you think they're going to cover, they're not covering. They've been another team for me as well, Robert.
It's weird, but it's weird. Like, how many teams in the NBA go from being like a double-digit favorite to a double-digit underdog
right,
in the span of a game? You know what I mean? Like, there aren't many teams with that kind of a spread on them, but
they struggle against teams that can score from the 3-point line because they just leave guys wide open. The Spurs there's like hoping. Just hope you miss. Like, you might want to put a hand up and be in their face because that's the guys in the league can shoot. But they try to outscore people, and against lesser teams they can do so. They just struggle against the best teams in the NBA. They did have a couple wins early. I think it was during the play-in tournament. They beat, I forget who they beat, a really good team. Was it Milwaukee outright without? I think it was Milwaukee without Wemby that game.
Oh, Wemby, I gotcha.
Yeah. So I do have a little free play for you. By the way, I do like a player prop in that Clippers. And so it's up if you want to check it out, check out my player props. I do have one player prop today, and it is in for the Jazz team or a player prop. All right. NBA free play, though, that I like, Warriors and the Rockets. And the line says -6 for a reason. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of the Warriors veterans. Maybe not Butler. I mean, this guy's got to be rested. He hadn't played for what? He played like 4 games in a month or something. But they're in a back-to-back. I don't think we'll see Steph Curry or Draymond Green tonight. That's why I think the line's 6. Steve Kerr in his press conference said it was a really disappointing loss because they put so much into the game, expecting to rest several starters tonight. Now, didn't name which guys, but you have to think with the line where it is, it's probably Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Can Jimmy Butler put a team on his back? I don't think so. I don't think he's that far into this team yet. I'm going to take the Rockets -6 tonight. I just think the Warriors kind of shot their shot last night against a Dallas team that, they're missing all 3 of their big guys, and they still couldn't beat them. They came running back late. They just, I don't know. It was a confusing night in the NBA, Robert. You were right. Lakers get freaking blown out, and the Warriors really kind of laid an egg there.
Yeah. Yep. And again, I want to retract my statement on not having a free play. At this point, I feel like Dallas has got to be an automatic fade. Like, I kind of like Miami against them tonight. Like, things have got to be pretty bleak when Dallas is playing at home. I don't think Miami's that bad. I don't see any motivation out of the Mavericks tonight. I would not be surprised if they get absolutely pasted at home, give the home crowd a chance to boo them even more. It's not a good scene down there right now. So I would sprinkle a little bit on Miami, I think.
The problem with Mavs is, like, someone sent me one of my guys that's subscribers sent me a text and said, "Hey, what do you like in this game tonight?" I said, "Listen, Dallas really can't lay an egg anymore. Like, the way they are in the standings, you look at it, there's a lot of teams in front of them. So to even get in the play-in game, they really have to win all these games where it's kind of a coin flip. They're both in a back-to-back. They're both talent-wise probably about the same now. So to me, Dallas, and really there's a lot of these bottom teams in the West that it's much easier in the East. Like, there's a lot of teams that I don't think have any business even being in the playoffs. Of course they are because of the extra playing game. So to me, I don't know. That one just scares me because – Kyrie at least is playing. He's playing pretty good basketball right now.
Showed up. That's the thing. They showed up last night against Golden State. Like, I was kind of with you. I was not expecting them to show up last night. I thought Golden State would build on the momentum from Butler's opening game, even though he wasn't going to play whatever. But they didn't. Dallas did show up. They shot a little bit better than you would expect them to. I am not expecting that same effort level from them against a lesser opponent. It's easy to get up for the Warriors and Steph and like that. A little harder to get up for Miami, right before a long weekend.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this Heat team does in the second half, because now the Butler drama is gone, and now the Heat culture, which I get sick of hearing that. We're going to see what that Heat culture is. Hey, you didn't want to pay Jimmy Butler, fine. Now let's see what you do without him. It will be interesting to see what Pat Riley, Spoelstra, and that Heat team does in the second half. All right, let's talk. Reason why we have Robert on Thursdays and Fridays. We talk a ton of college basketball. Today, we're just going to cover Thursday college basketball, but tomorrow, make sure you stay tuned till tomorrow. We'll not only cover the Friday games, we're going to send our friend Raphael over some of the key games in college basketball. He's going to predict what those lines are going to be for us. And then we're going to talk about some of those key games for Saturday as well. So we're going to give you some Friday free plays and Saturday free plays. And since we don't have NBA or NHL, we're also going to talk a little future betting action as far as March Madness is concerned. So make sure you stay tuned tomorrow. All right, let's go back same order. What do you like as a free play here tonight, Griffin?
Yeah, Craig, I'm going to ride. I absolutely love this Memphis team. They're at South Florida in tonight's matchup. Memphis, they're coming in playing stout basketball right now, dude. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games, currently rocking a 7-game winning streak. Memphis has solidified wins over very tough contenders during this 7-game winning run, beating Wichita State, UAB, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, and Ole Miss. Memphis is no joke, and Penny Hardaway is a very good coach and constantly has this team pesky year in, year out. They are always somebody who's in the mix of chat. South Florida, on the other hand, they're not having the season I predicted whatsoever. They're playing 500 basketball with a 12-12 record, 4-6 in their last 10 games, and just lost at home to Wichita State. South Florida right now defensively is atrocious. They're 215th in the nation across defensive ratings. Meanwhile, Memphis, they're 57th across offensive points per game, 32nd from the field, and second from three-point field goal percentages. If South Florida falls behind early in this game, I don't see how they're going to sustain this insanely potent Memphis offense. So, Craig, in this matchup, I'm laying the points here. I'm being the favorite guy. I'm laying the 7.5 points with this Memphis team because I just think they're going to roll right through South Florida. South Florida's defense is not sustainable. They have an okay offense, but like I said, if Memphis gets ahead early in this game, offensively, they are not going to be able to keep up with this team. And I think Memphis rolls them here by double digits. So give me Memphis here, lay the 7.5 points.
Yeah, this Memphis team, you kind of got to scratch your head a little bit the last couple seasons. Talent-wise, Penny has put some unbelievable players around him, but he kind of has underachieved. This year, I think he's lived up to the expectations. The last few years kind of fallen short. And even going back with the year when he had Wiseman that, of course, then opted out and ended up not playing. I mean, he's had some of the best recruits in the country. This year, he's taken onto that transfer portal, and it really has helped him. A lot of teams, I think the transfer portals actually hurt them, but he has done a good job of putting some nice pieces around him. Now, this is a league that's probably only going to get probably just Memphis if they win the tournament, right, Robert? It's probably just Memphis. So this is a Memphis team that really, like, everybody wants a shot at them, and then come, in the conference tournament, everybody wants to knock them off to have their chance to get in. So, Robert, what do you think about Memphis? This is a team that I think they're like a 7 seed come NCAA tournament time. I think it's a team that could beat a 1 or 2 seed on their best day, but they also are, as a 7 to probably 8 seed, they're a team that probably could get beat on opening night as well.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between this year's team, and we saw it a little bit more with last year's team as well, is that Penny Hardaway's first few teams, he went on recruiting, he went on young talent. Okay, these last 2 years, you look at like 7 of their top 8 guys this year, seniors. 6 out of their top 8 guys last year, seniors. Senior backcourt. You got a guy like Tyrese Hunter that's played a lot of basketball leading the way. He's tightened up his rotations. Like, they only play maybe 7 or 8 guys, where his first couple of teams, he's trying to play 10 guys. He's trying to mix in transfers. He's trying to mix in freshmen and stuff like that. Like, I just think he's tightened things up, and he's relying more on that veteran presence, and that's why this team is playing a little bit better. I am hoping that you are right, Griffin. I hope that they just paced South Florida in this game, because I'm actually looking at Wichita State on Sunday. After this game in South Florida, Memphis has to go to Wichita State. Huge underachiever. Like, I think Paul Mills is done after this year, but that's still a tough place to play. Still a weird trip for Memphis to go to Florida and then go to Wichita. Right now, I think that number is going to be like 7.5, but if Memphis goes nuts tonight, wins by 12, Hunter comes back, we might get 8.5, 9 maybe in that Wichita game. And, Memphis has been vulnerable on the road. They lost at Temple, misleading score in that Tulane game. I'm not sure if you guys remember, Tulane had them in the second half. Memphis ends up winning by 12. So, Memphis is still a team that I don't trust because of Hardaway.
2-8 against the spread, Memphis, their last 10 games, too. You usually, because they're the best team in the league, and like you said, they've had some scores that were a little closer. They kind of pulled away late, and they're like, oh, they almost covered, so maybe they'll cover. That's kind of deceiving. So this is a danger spot. I hope you're right, Griffin, because like you said, I think I want to see Memphis win out. It was what I like to see, because I'd like to see this team get a 6 or 7 seed. I'm always like, I want to see the teams outside of the Power 5 conferences have a chance to make it second weekend, and this is one of those teams that can do it, I think.
I need Memphis to keep rolling, man. I got a futures ticket plus 8,000 on this team. So you know what? I'm pulling the plug early to get into that tournament. So I need Memphis. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Good luck tonight, Griffin. What do you like, Nick, as far as a free play in college hoops tonight?
Yeah, it's only right we go back to the Big Ten, as yesterday we had the Iowa Hawkeyes there on the road. They were 0-5 on the road, and they got the outright win over Rutgers there by 11 points. So let's go to Maryland and Nebraska. Both these teams coming in right now off wins in their last game. Nebraska is on a 4-game winning streak here, just beating Ohio State on Sunday. Maryland just won over Rutgers. Maryland is 2-5, though, this season on the road. But in their last 10 games, they're 7-3. Maryland, they ranked 18th right now in the country in points per game. This Nebraska team, they're 10-2 at home. They play their best basketball here at home. But in their last 10 games, they're 4-6 right now. Nebraska beat Illinois at home and Ohio State as of recently. Fred Hoiberg has these boys playing really good basketball here as of late, but this Maryland team, their defense is the real deal. They average almost over 10 turnovers per game on the defensive side. I'm liking this dog price again with Maryland at Nebraska here tonight on the money line tonight, Craig.
Going against the mayor, your old Bulls coach, Fred Hoiberg there. He's done a very good job, though, kind of putting things back together, because there was a point this season that it was going the wrong direction. Then the last 4 games, this team has really started to play well. And I don't know if they have enough time left. I guess if they continue to win, obviously they're going to get in an NCAA tournament. But if you look at their schedule ahead, this is kind of a must-win for Nebraska. So interesting game. I think Maryland's a tournament team for sure. I think Nebraska's got some work to do. They probably got to win this one and probably 4 more quality wins. Maybe even win a game in the conference tournament to get in. I guess it kind of matters. You don't know. This is a bubble team for sure. So interesting game tonight. Probably the game of the night, because it's not the biggest card tonight. I guess St. Mary's and Gonzaga, there's a little interest there. I think both those teams could, obviously end up in San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco. I wish it was St. Mary's. St. Mary's, Gonzaga. What a game that was. That was a week and a half ago. That was right down to the wire. Those 2 teams, no one wants to play this year. It's definitely not St. Mary's defense. I mean, you have to score. You have to be confident that you can hold them to 60, because they're going to probably hold you in the 60s. So if you're going to win the game, your defense has to be on point when you play St. Mary's, and a lot less possession. So what do you like tonight, Robert, as a free play?
Well, this one I cut from my card because it was it just bugged me out a little bit too much, but it was a really interesting number. That's why I wanted to talk about it and use it as a free play. And it's Northwestern and Campbell dipping into the CAA. Campbell is on a 7-game winning streak. They're in first place
Northeastern,
in the CAA, or excuse me, they are tied for 3rd place in the CAA. Won 7 straight games. They're hot, yet they are underdogs here to a team that's about 4 or 5 spots lower than them in the standings. That's always a red flag, right? So the line opens at -2.5 with Northeastern, who is not a good team and have not been playing very good basketball. Not only do they open at 2.5-point underdogs, but overnight the line jumps to 4.5. So we got Northeastern -4.5 here. Seems like one of those spots that's just begging for you to jump on Campbell. They're hot. They're higher in the standings, all that stuff. I'm going the other way. I like Northeastern. This is one of the ones where I'm letting the line guide me and kind of betting with the books. One of the things about Northeastern is that 3 of their last 4 games and 7 of their last 10 games have been on the road. So these guys have been playing a lot of games, away from home. I think they're going to get a little bit of a boost playing in their home gym. Campbell, they've only been in the CAA for 2 years. So this is one of those places heading up to the Northeast. like they're not used to playing in these gyms. All right. So I feel like that's going to give them a little bit of a problem. Campbell has been the opposite of Northeastern. They've played 4 straight home games, and 6 of their last 8 games have been at home. That's been a big part of why they've been able to put that winning streak together. So again, just looking at this number, it's one of those lines that really didn't make sense at first, but once you deep dive into it and you see where the line is moving, and then throw on top of that the fact that the majority of the public is taking the bait on this one. Almost 68% of the action is coming in on Campbell. I'll go the other way, and I'll take Northeastern and lay the points.
Yeah, some of these CAA games, people get, I think, too confused with you look at their overall record, because these are the teams that that is called the paydays. They go early in the year, they go play Dukes in the North Carolina, they go get paid. That's how they keep these teams going. To be able to travel over the country is expensive. Even in a CAA where the travel's not nearly as much as, let's just say the Big 12 and the Big 10 this year travel. But it's expensive. And to do that, you have to go, and you get hammered a lot of times. So if you're one of the teams that went out and played a much tougher schedule, then you got to really limit it to what the conference records are. And people, I think, get confused. And I think this is a good one that you point out here. I think.
Sorry, Craig. Another thing about it is that when you get into these conference plays, one of the things you have to look at is conference strength of schedule. A lot of these conferences play unbalanced strength of schedule. Like Campbell's strength of schedule is ranked number 13th out of 14 in the CAA. Northeastern has the number 1 strength of schedule. They have played the most difficult conference schedule of any of these teams. That's why they're lower in the standings, is Campbell has played nothing but home games against the worst teams in the CAA. So that explains why Northeastern is favored here. And the reason that I got this from my card, I'm using it as a free play, is it's just an old thing that I have. I don't like laying points to teams that run the Princeton offense, always good underdogs. But in this situation, I think it's warranted as a free play.
Yeah, I mean, and probably what's going to happen usually when the conference schedule's like that is that it's unbalanced early. It'll fix itself. So these teams could flip the standings we have 3 weeks from now before conference tournaments start. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. We are less than a month away now to Selection Sunday and NCAA tournament. So people think it's far away because it's only the 13th of February. But I think, Nick, didn't we say it was the 8th? Was the
March? I believe March 7th is the playing games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's like we're less than a month.
Conference tournament play starts in like 2.5 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks from Sunday. It's like the Big South or something like that. But 2 weeks from Sunday, the first conference tournament games start. So yeah, we are closer to it than people realize.
Flew by.
Rolling.
Yeah. So tomorrow, like we'll say, I'll have a free play. But before I get to it, don't forget tomorrow we'll be talking a little bit of futures because this is the time I start to like to put my futures, if I'm going to play them for the NCAA tournament, right about now, because if a team that you like makes a run in the conference tournaments, then they become the betting darlings. You might get a team that's going to be 100-1 that all of a sudden is 40-1 or 50-1, especially in a big conference if they win their conference tournament or win a few games of the conference tournament. So we'll talk that tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll have all 4 of us will be back on tomorrow. All right, little free play action. We talked about it a little bit. I think the second best game of the night, San Francisco and Gonzaga. San Francisco. I don't know. People I think are sleeping on them a little bit. 20-6 on the year. I think they're an NCAA tournament team unless they really fall off here. I think it's going to be a 3-bid league this year. I think obviously St. Mary's and Gonzaga is going to get in, but I think this San Francisco team can get in. What they need to not get killed tonight. They cannot afford to get blown out and then have the narrative they just beat up on bad teams, even though they did beat St. Mary's. I think they need to stay close tonight. And this is not a good team against the spread. Now, and that's Gonzaga, that is. Gonzaga, 2-7 their last 9 games. Now, granted, they're a lot of times the line's 25, 23 points because some of the bottom teams of the conference aren't that great. But I think this is a good spot where I think this is a single-digit game. I think it'll be close throughout. We might see Gonzaga kind of pull away late in the second half. But I think this West Coast Conference is a little closer than what 14 points this matchup is than 14.5 points. I like this one to be I don't know, Gonzaga gets 78-70 type game. I'm going to take the points here. I think this is a lot more to play for a San Francisco team than Gonzaga. Robert, any take on this game?
Yeah, this is one that I looked at hard. I like your read on it. I was just too much of a coward to bet with San Francisco. I don't like to poke the bear with Gonzaga at home because, as you mentioned, this could be a 6-point game with 8 minutes left, and Gonzaga ends up winning by 17. We've just seen them do that a lot of times. I agree with you that talent-wise and just the way that they play, if San Francisco is good enough to beat St. Mary's, they're good enough to hang around with Gonzaga, right? Like that tracks. These are the teams at the top. So they should be competitive with one another. And San Francisco has been very competitive in this series. I think they've only been blown out like twice out of the last 6 or 7 times that they've played Gonzaga, which maybe doesn't sound impressive, but, it's Gonzaga. And the fact that they were playing this team tough when they were in the top 5 in the country, you would think with the talent, depth, and experience that San Francisco has, that 14 would be a juicier number. Again, this is one of the reason I didn't end up using it is it's one of the ones where I was reading the line. If this had been closer to like 10.5, 9.5, right straddling double digits, then I probably would have bet and taken San Francisco. But the fact that it is so high, it's almost like it's begging you to take the points with San Francisco. I still think that that's the right side, but that's why I cut it from my card. Like this was 100% a play that I was looking at and diving into on Tuesday, projecting that line. And then when it came out a little higher than I thought it was, instead of seeing value, I was like, okay, maybe a red flag.
Well, when Golden left San Francisco to go to Florida, I kind of thought this team might take a big, you lose a really good coach like that, it can take a really step back. But it has not happened. Like they've really kept it going there. And I've been impressed with them. I think this is a statement type game for their, not just this season, but also for the program. Like if you get blown out, then you're like, oh, well, we're a notch below, and maybe it's more than a notch below. So tonight, I just think like they got a lot to play for here. Not just the NCAA tournament, but it's like recruiting nowadays. Not just recruiting in college or the high school kids. Now you're trying to recruit for those transfers coming from the big major ones, to get playing time at a little less conference like the West Coast Conference. So I think this is a good matchup. Better than I think what the line suggests. But like you said, reason why
they play them twice. These two teams play twice over the next couple of weeks. So even if San Francisco does get blown out in this game, all that's going to do is create a little bit more value in that rematch game that San Francisco gets. It's like sometimes being a good sports bettor is like being a poker player, right? Like sometimes you don't mind losing a small pot to pay for information and get that bigger pot later. So I think you're going to be a winner here either way with San Francisco tonight. Either they're going to win this free play, or if they lose, then you might be able to come back over the top with a couple extra points in a couple of weeks.
Before we just finish up here, don't forget also the West Coast Conference, one of those conferences in Vegas for the conference tournament. And these are really good conference games. They're kind of that week, or they're ending up, I think, on like that Wednesday or Thursday when all the other conferences are starting up. So I always like that because instead of playing at the bottom level, you're playing the ACC bottom 4 teams in that opening game. You get to play this game in the championship game. So West Coast Conference will be in Vegas again this year. Interesting with 3 good teams. I'm interested to see how that turns out. So, all right. So don't forget, we've got tons of stuff for you here as our free plays, but our best plays is always what you need to go with. And how do you get in and test this out? You go to docsports.com/free60. You get a $60 account. Now, that's $30 per play or per sport per handicapper. So if you want to check out 2 of the different guys here, you can either go to their NBA, their college basketball. If you like player props, we have all those available. Go to docsports.com/free60 to get in. If you're a existing user, of course, go to the grid. I would have Griffin explain it, but yesterday he said he wasn't exactly sure how the grid worked. So Robert is the OG when it comes to the grid.
Click the button. Go to the grid and click the button. That's it. It's pretty user friendly. Everything at Docs we have set up to be extraordinarily user-friendly, because you got to remember, like, we've been around for 50 years, right? So when we even started this website, a lot of our clients and clientele, they had never even used a website before. So we've tried to maintain that, like, not make anything too complicated, too convoluted. Like, it's all pretty straightforward. Take the $60 free, create your account, log in, use that to get anybody's picks. It's all right there in front of you. And again, the big play alert that lists these big plays, like when these guys are talking about, oh, I have a 7-unit play, I have this. That's there right above the grid. So you don't even have to go anywhere else to find out like what Griffin has going on. Like, what did he say he had a 7-unit play in against?
NBA and college.
Right, yeah, it's right there above the grid to buy.
There you go. That's how you use the grid. Griffin, maybe
Lesson
take
learned, baby.
Griffin, take little notes how to use the grid. All right, so that's what we have for you. Don't forget, make sure you check that out. If you haven't done so, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on all the videos. Not just we do this Docs Daily every day at what time? 1 o'clock, 1 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're a little late today, but 1 to 1:30 most days, Monday through Friday. And of course, you get all kinds of other videos. So make sure you like and subscribe. So have a great day. Good luck on Thursday. We'll see you back again on Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Good luck.